I chose Joe Matt's How to Be Cheap, for one, because I think it's hilarious and I think it's well written, concise, and all the things I really enjoy. And number two, I was a finance major in college, so it actually has some pretty good tips to some extent. First off, I noticed that the main thing that jumps out to me is that it's in black and white. I believe this was done deliberately by the author because the theme is how to be cheap, and if you're going to be cheap, you're not going to use color for printing. It's more expensive. I think black and white just makes things stand out, pop, and I think it was a great decision by the author. Secondly, I think, this cartoon comic has some interesting splash panels. As you see, each one of these is considered a splash panel, and this author chose not to do sort of a linear left to right. You can kind of read it from any angle you want. It's kind of in circles. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can kind of read it however you want. Take each one individually, and they all apply to how to be cheap. Let's see. And in terms of the terminology, right here we have a speech balloon or bubble. There are a lot of them. This one actually is a commentary. But here, this one's the thought bubble. He's saying to himself, had cheese and blood puffs, buy one get one free, sounds good, which it really doesn't sound good, but he's just trying to be cheap. Another thing that I notice is all of the splash panels, they quote-unquote bleed, and with the terminology just means basically that the image runs off the page. So as you can see here, there's more of his body that would be over here. In this one, the table would continue. In this one, the movie theater would keep going. So those are all ways that the splash panels bleed. And I would say that the comic is written in a scene-to-scene manner, in the sense that it's kind of like a movie. Each one of these is a different scene in How to Be Cheap. You have coupons. They have the picture of the guy clipping coupons. Exploit friendships. So it's kind of like another scene. Make a fake bus pass. Another scene. This one I wouldn't really call a scene per se, but it's just kind of a quick idea of the top 10 foes of frugality, which in true finance sense, it really is true. Cars, taxes, trendy clothes, trying to keep up with the Joneses, doctors, which means medical things, booze, all those things can definitely eat away your finances. And then another terminology would be, this is considered the gutter of the comic book, all right here. It's kind of the space between each individual panel. And like I said, this comic is very unique in the sense of it kind of has this circular theme here, then another inner circle. It almost looks like a bullseye. And in the very center, it's how to be cheap. And then in terms of the words and illustrations, for the most part, I believe most of them would be additive in the sense of the words words add to the images and the images add to the words. For instance, if you look at here, buy stale food, day old, half price. You see him grabbing some old bread, but you wouldn't know that it says hard as a rock. And then nothing a little steam can't fix. So just him showing you how to the cheapness can save you money. And then, for instance, in this one, dilute all liquids with water. It's telling you liquid dishwasher soap, liquid spaghetti, soup, shampoo, conditioner. There's the orange juice getting flooded with water. If you didn't have the dilute with water, all you'd see looks like just scared bottles. You'd have no idea that how they're actually saving the money. Here, make a fake bus pass, brace to run, and then it talks about laminated color Xerox copy. So in the sense, this is one thing that could have been in color for the comic, so that's why he had to specifically make a sort of a narrative box over to tell you that, hey, this actually is in color, whereas everything else in the thing is not in color. What else? And then you have here, kind of cute, they have birds normally would be saying cheep, 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 like the sound. But in this instance, these birds are saying cheep, cheep to go along with the theme of how to be cheap. I thought that was very memorable. And another interesting thing up here, a common terminology for being cheap is penny pinching. And in this instance, the author actually shows the penny saying ouch, because you're pinching pennies so hard. And in terms of this specific splash right here, in this one, I would say this is considered sort of a montage, because really the words are treated as an integral part of the picture, and really the picture only is the words. There's nothing else in this specific splash other than the guy is kind of coming over into the words. In terms of montages, not montages, sorry. In terms of the splash panels, I would say that none of them are parallel in the sense of words and pictures follow different courses. In these, all of the words and pictures complement each other, help each other. And then also you could say right here where it has the word rip, that's an onomatopoeia, and as well as you could say it's picture specific in that the words act as a soundtrack for the image. And I can't remember if I say this, but I believe that most of the splash panels are interdependent in the sense of the words and pictures work hand in hand. I believe I actually did state that. But without the words and the pictures, it would be confusing. For instance, like this one, it talks about, where's that blank waiter, no tip for him. If you just saw him right there, you just think, well, that's an angry guy. Maybe he didn't like his food, but you wouldn't realize that he's going to be saving money by not getting a tip. And then also, you have water here, sure, or you have a drink here, but without the words, you wouldn't know it's water, which hence is free. And then you have here the plate, and then kind of the commentary slash talks about cheapest item on the menu, and then here you see him like reaching over here happily. You're not sure what he's getting at, but once you read the words, it says, hey, you're going to finish that. So in other words, he's getting some free food off of, looks like somebody else's plate. So that is my synopsis of How to Be Cheap by Joe Matt, and thank you.